Hey, my name's Zoe, and my partner Jack and I are currently traveling around South America on a budget. We've recently visited the capital of Colombia, Bogota, and I wanted to share some free and cheap things that we did while we were there. If you're new here, Jack and I are currently traveling through the Americas on a budget, so make sure you subscribe for affordable travel advice as we go. Going up Monserrate is an absolute must-do when you're in Bogota. The mountain sits right above the city and it gives you incredible views over Bogota and the surrounding mountains. You can visit Monserrate completely for free by hiking up the public trail, but there's also a funicular and it costs 19,000 pesos one way or 32,000 return. We took the funicular up and hiked down, and we definitely recommend doing it this way. The hike up is pretty steep and it's probably really tough if you're not used to the altitude. The hike down though was really easy. Once you're at the top, there's some really nice walkways dedicated to different countries, plus plenty of spots to grab a coffee, food, or souvenirs. At the summit is the famous Monserrate Sanctuary, which is a major Catholic pilgrimage site and one of Bogota's most iconic landmarks. We really enjoyed just taking in the views here and enjoying a nice warm coffee. Carrera 7 is one of the main pedestrian streets in Bogota, and it's full of food vendors, street performers, and people selling just about everything. I really recommend coming here on a weekend. There were way more vendors and performers, and the atmosphere was just so much better. We were actually here over Christmas, and at night the whole street turned into a Christmas carnival. There was rides, games, people in costumes, and performances everywhere. It was really busy, but absolutely worth it. We felt comfortable here both during the day and the night, but obviously just take normal precautions with your valuables. If you keep walking south on Carrera 7, you'll eventually reach Plaza de Bolivar, which is the main square of Bogota. This square is home to important buildings like the Palace of Justice, Cathedral Primera de Colombia, Congress, and City Hall. We did 2 free walking tours in Bogota and highly recommend doing both. They were run by a company called Beyond Bogota, and you can book these online. The first tour we did was the downtown tour, and this covered the history of Colombia and Bogota, had tips for getting around the city, and also gave us an introduction into political violence, drugs, and modern Colombian culture. In this tour, we visited an older part of the city and got to try chicha for free, which was really nice. This is a fermented corn drink, and it's sort of like an alternative to beer. The second tour that we did was the War and Peace tour, and this went way deeper into Colombia's complex history of conflict. It explained the roles of guerrilla groups, paramilitaries, the army and cartels, and how this all still affects politics today. The second tour especially stood out to us. Our guide broke down a very complex history in a way that was easy to understand and really engaging. Bogota has so many great street food options and it's available pretty much everywhere you go. Food usually costs around 2,000 to 6,000 pesos and coffee is usually around 1,000 to 3,000, so it's super budget friendly. My favorite food was papa rellenas, which are these potato croquettes stuffed with different fillings, just depending on the vendor. But you can also get empanadas, arepas, chorizo, fresh fruit, and so much more. The Botero Museum is a completely free art museum and it houses a large collection of works by Colombia's most famous artist, Fernando Botero. He has a really distinctive style and honestly I don't think I've ever smiled so much in an art gallery. Everything is colourful, bold and just really fun to look at. There's also a really good collection of European artists here, including works from Picasso, Monet, and Renoir. The Gold Museum is one of the most famous museums in Bogota and it's absolutely worth visiting. It showcases the largest collection of pre-Hispanic gold artifacts in the world, created by indigenous cultures across Colombia long before the Spanish arrived. Entry normally costs 5,000 pesos, but the museum is free every Sunday, which is when we visited. Just keep in mind that because it's free on Sundays, it's much busier, so just expect some crowds and a little bit of waiting. If you're wanting a quieter experience, it might be worth just paying that small entrance fee on a different day. This museum has a wide variety of exhibits ranging from indigenous, Spanish and modern history, artworks and cultural pieces. The building itself is beautiful too. It was once an old prison in Bogota. Entry normally costs 37,000 pesos, but it's free to enter on Wednesdays after 3 p.m. That's when we went and we found 2 hours was plenty of time for us. We actually learned about Fragmentos during the War and Peace free walking tour, and I'd recommend visiting it after that tour since it's nearby anyway. This free exhibit honours victims of the violence perpetrated during Colombia's conflict with the guerrilla group FARC. The entire floor is made from melted down guns that were surrendered by FARC after the 2016 peace agreement. Walking across the tiles is a really surreal experience when you know what they're made of and the history behind them. There's also a short video explaining the story and the process of making the exhibit, including how survivors were involved in its creation. So make sure you take the time to watch it. Thank you so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed this video. This definitely isn't an exhaustive list of all the free and cheap things to do in Bogota. There are also some hikes and some other activities that we just didn't get the chance to do. If you know some other free or budget things to do in Bogota, let us know in the comments, and we'll see you guys in the next one.